Visual math or geometry, a cool thing isn't it? Today we're gonna talk about properties only. So sit back, relax and fall asleep. A dimension is a construct which allows two-directional movement. A positive or a negative. Can we all agree that up is positive and down is negative? Okay. Fine. A 0D looks like this: 1D, then 2D, then 3D, then 4D. We can only predict the shadows of 4D, not the objects themselves, too complicated for human perception. We can represent higher dimensions using time. For example, a square is a line that never decreases length. A triangle increases and then decreases. Similarly, a sphere is an increasing and decreasing circle, and much more representations. A 0D object is a point. A two-dimensional object is called a plane, on which Euclidean geometry exists. Between 2 points, if the number of points is the minimum, then it is a straight line. A 1D object, the dimensions are length and that's it. Ones that aren't are called curves. Not sure which dimension, pretty sure it's two-dimensional. A polygon is anything made up of straight lines. Regular polygons have equal sides. Four-sided ones are called quadrilateral and three-sided are called triangles. And Mark, wake up, you fell asleep. Finish your homework or finish this video, but don't fall asleep in front of the computer. Anyway, we use some numerical prefixes and add gon to it to name shapes like pentagon, hexagon, whatever. A line can be stretched infinitely and a line segment is part of a line. A ray is also a part of a line, but it's half of a line. And I'm sorry that I called lines before. Parallel lines are those whose all points are equal distance away from each other. That is, the number of point between them is equal. The ones which aren't parallel, intersect. The lines share one common point. Curves that cannot be predicted are called irregular curves. I made that up. A simple polygon is where none of the lines intersect. Well, that was a long analysis of children's drawings. Now on to triangles and quadrilaterals. They're as bad as lines. Now an angle is the measure of a slant, a measure of one's position from another along with distance, but they can't be measured in points, well, in two directions if you try too hard. A full circle is 360 degrees. A 90 angle is right, a less than 90 is acute and a more is obtuse. An n-sided polygon has n-2 into 180 angles in total. Angles are a bit similar to lines, especially because angles are formed by lines. For example, regular polygons have equal angles. A triangle is named after its sides and angles. An acute triangle has all angles acute. A right-angled triangle has a right angle and there are obtuse angles. I'm not explaining this one. Equilaterals have equal sides, they're regular polygons. An isosceles triangle has two sides equal and, as you might have guessed, they have two equal angles. On the non-equal side, scalene triangles have no sides equal. Adjacent sides are sides which share a point. A trapezoid is a quadrilateral which has no parallel sides, and it becomes isosceles when, you guessed it, one of the parallel sides become equal. A kite is one where the adjacent sides are equal in length. A parallelogram is where non-adjacent sides are parallel and of course they are equal in size. If all angles are 90 then it's a rectangle, and when all sides are equal it's a square, but when the angles aren't 90, it's called a rhombus. Circles. A circle is a collection of all the points around a particular point at a specific distance. The point is called the center, and the distance is called radius. All the points that constitute a shape's boundary is collectively called its perimeter. We usually refer its length. A circle's perimeter is called a circumference. A line segment connecting 2 points on a circle is called a chord. The longest chord possible, which is twice the radius, is known as diameter. Imagine an object running around the perimeter. If it suddenly moves straight, this line is called the tangent line. This is called segment. 2 radii drawn results in a sector. Now we delve into 3 dimensions, and here we are not going to discuss much. For objects made with straight lines there are 2 classifications, prisms and pyramids, and regular polygon equivalents of 3D. A sphere, basically the 3D circle, as I said, the regular polygon equivalence of 3D or RPEO3 for short. A prism is a 3D model in which two congruent 2D shapes, that is they have the same size and shape, have the vertices connected by a line perpendicular to the 2D shapes. A pyramid is a shape in which the vertices of the shape are connected to a point above. A square's RPO3 is a cube. A triangle is supposed to be a tetrahedron where the pyramid base is a triangle. An octahedron is the RPEO3 of a 45-angle rotation of a square. A pentagon would also be an octahedron but a square base instead, which is the most popular pyramid. And also this is cut. That's all properties I know. Now the angle properties. A line going through two lines is a transversal, not trans apparently. Now these angles are equal. Numero uno angles on the same side, and same side of an intersection are called corresponding angles. Numero dos opposite sides and opposite sides, alternate interior and exterior angles. Numero tres opposite angles, or vertically opposite angles. And the angles whose sum is 90 are complementary, and if it's 180 then they're supplementary. Now adjacent angles forming a straight line and the angles that are on the same side and different sides, called co-interior or exterior angles are supplementary. Now the triangles. Remember that x minus 2 into 180 is the total angles, considering x to be number of sides. This angle is called the external angle. This is a straight line and this is equal to the sum of these. How? Well, these angles are 180 minus a, this angle is also 180 minus a, so they are equal. The Pythagoras theorem will be covered now. In a right-angled triangle, the square of this and this is the square of this. This is the inequality theorem, it can be used for some proofs. A median joins vertices and middle of sides, their meeting point is a centroid, represented by G. An altitude is a line that makes a 90 degrees or is perpendicular to a side and it also meets a vertice. Its meeting point, H, is the orthocenter. A ray that divides an angle in half is the perpendicular bisector. Its meeting point, I, is the incenter. Now if you draw a perpendicular that meets the I, that is the radius of the biggest circle that can fit in a triangle. Let take the midpoints and then draw perpendiculars. The meeting point is O, the circumcenter. It's equally far away from all the vertices. And the circle drawn is the smallest circle which can completely fit the triangle. Quadrilaterals are just an extension of the triangles. Trigonometry will be a bit later.